Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Calvin sent me notes. Steve, check out the story happened in your backyard. And this happened in Oakland County, Michigan. And I grew up in Oakland County, Michigan. So yeah, pretty much. From clickondetroit.com, which is WDIV's website, Channel 4. And Derek Hutchinson wrote this. And by the way, this right here is a criminal conspiracy that will make you wonder how such geniuses got caught. Oakland County mailbox stolen by EMS workers. Here's how they did it and why they got caught. And it wasn't that difficult, but two EMS workers stole a USPS collection mailbox in Oakland County by using a stretcher to load it into an ambulance, and then they exposed themselves by calling in and asking if they could keep it. So yes, they used their ambulance and a stretcher to steal the mailbox, which is a comical image if you think about it. And then they got caught because they called in and said, hey, we got this thing, can we keep it? And generally speaking, once you've gotten away, you don't call back and say, hey, can we have what we just got? The two men are accused of theft of government property, and it's federal property, and obstruction of mail in a criminal complaint that was unsealed just a couple weeks ago. Officials received a report from the Bloomfield Hills postmaster back in April that the blue United States Postal Service collection box on South Telegraph Road was missing. Postal maintenance workers said there was no work order for that area and there had been no plans to remove the box. But on 11:33 in the morning, May 2nd, a postal technician received a phone call from one of the men who asked if he could keep the box that he had found, and it had been next to a dumpster in Bloomfield Township. Now, the box had been near a dumpster, but it was bolted to the ground and still active. The Local 4, WDIV Detroit, went to the mailbox location on Wednesday and confirmed that it stands about 10 feet from a dumpster, where it is bolted to a slab of concrete. Now, when something is bolted to the ground and owned by the federal government, you generally don't want to mess with it. The postal technician asked the man why he wanted to keep it, and he said it was for personal use and decorative purposes. They told the man he is not allowed to keep the collection box. But officials then traced the man's phone number, found that it belonged to the man, and that's how they linked him to the case. And then about 23 minutes later, and this shows you that something is going on with people figuring this out, the postal technician received another call, this one from the manager of the EMS company, which is located on Telegraph Road in Southfield. So Southfield just a couple miles down the road from Bloomfield Hills. The manager said he didn't think his employees had taken the collection box. He told the technician that the man claimed someone told him he could keep it. But of course, the fact that these people are involved at the EMS service means that they are on some level aware of the fact that their vehicle was used to take this thing. About 10 minutes later, the first man called back and said that a blue collection box was at the EMS station in Southfield, and he gave the door code. So he basically said, look, here's where it is. You can come get it. The technician asked the man for the identity of the person who helped take it, and the man said he knew him only as Jacob, but didn't know his last name, but he gave up the first name. Officials said they later confirmed that the second person involved was the person who's now been charged. Postal inspectors met with the EMS managers in May and confirmed that the two of the men had been on duty the day the mailbox was taken. The manager said that the pair was identified via GPS, which apparently tracks their ambulances, which showed that ambulance had been stopped at that location at 5:22 p.m. until 5:29 p.m., April 29th. And so that's actually quite important. I know some people, I've been told, think that I nitpick these stories. They go, Steve, you're pointing out some details that I think are really not that important. It actually is important that the ambulance was there from 5:22 to 5:29 and no longer. 7 minutes. Because that means that they pulled up with the ambulance, unbolted the mailbox, loaded it onto a stretcher, got it into the ambulance, and took off all within 7 minutes. And sometimes when you're operating in a hurry, it indicates that you think you need to be in a hurry for a reason. And that, to me, would be an indication that somebody, number one, they knew how to unbolt this thing, brought something with them to unbolt it, and unbolted it so quickly that they could actually leave the scene within 7 minutes. That is important. Video inside the ambulance showed the two of them using a stretcher to load the collection box into the back. That video has since been turned over to investigators. On the video, the two are clearly seen stealing and loading a USPS collection box into their ambulance, according to the criminal complaint. On the video, one of them states that if he and the other get an emergency call, they will have to dispose of the USPS collection box. So if we get a call while this thing's in you, we may have to push it out the back and make room for somebody. In case you're curious, the boxes are worth about $1,800 a piece. Postal inspectors interviewed the second man on May 6th about the theft, and he began by saying that stealing it had been effing stupid in hindsight, although he used the whole word that starts with an F. He claimed he hadn't seen the mailbox until the previous week and thought it was trash because it was near a dumpster. He said that the other man told him it was indeed trash. And of course, no one puts stuff up by the dumpster and then bolts it to the ground. I mean, that would kind of defeat the purpose. So the one man stated the other man told him he got permission from the post office to take it. He stated that the other man thought it could be used as a drop box for their medical reports at the ambulance service. He also admitted during the interview that the collection box had been bolted to the concrete. So he was aware of that. Postal inspectors also spoke to the first man in May. He told them he had noticed the collection box around April 22nd. He said he sent a picture of the mailbox to his boss over text and suggested it could be used in their office. He said he believed the mailbox is no longer being used because it was next to a dumpster. He thought he could refurbish it for a drop box to be used for medical reports. He said he took the mailbox to the EMS station and admitted it was his idea to do so. So he was the mastermind of this operation. Post office officials said the collection box has always been in that spot, but the dumpster is new. So maybe you should steal the dumpster. Can you fit that inside? No, you can't fit that inside the ambulance? Put it on the roof. The criminal complaint concludes as probable cause that two of these men that we talked about here stole government property and obstructed the mail system. And, you know, I remember in the old days when not only were there the blue boxes, but there were the dark green ones. And I believe they had put mail in the green boxes for the mailmen to pick up as they were walking their routes. But that's a long time ago. But you see the blue boxes, of course, and I think there are fewer of them now than there used to be because the volume of mail has dropped. And most of them are in pretty obvious places, you know, the entrances to big parking lots or near, you know, office complexes. But, you know, again, how much mail have you been sending with actual stamps, you know? I mail a lot of stuff, a lot of books, for instance, but the bulk of what I mail is stuff that I got to go to the counter for. I do go to the counter. I understand I don't have to, but I do. And it gets weighed, and it gets sent up media mail, and I pay, and blah, 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 blah. But I see the mailboxes out there, and so keep in mind that while this mailbox is out there and the dumpster is nearby, someone may have come by and put mail in there. And it makes you wonder what would have happened to that mail. I presume it wouldn't have gotten where it was going. You know, so this is a crazy case, but it really makes you wonder. Because the fact that they called the post office, one of them did, and asked if they could keep it, and then said where it was, makes you wonder. But then again, the fact it's bolted to the ground, it should indicate that it was there for a purpose. So I don't know what to make of this, but on its face, it looks like one of the dumbest crimes ever. Because the getaway vehicle being an ambulance, having GPS on it that other people have access to, is going to make it pretty easy to prove where you were when this happened. Oh, you were there. Okay. And then, like I said, calling the postal service and saying, hey, can I have this? Here's my name. Here's where I am. Oh, I can't? Okay. Come get it. You know, most people would think, okay, at that point, you rush to put it back and hope you can get away with that. But even that, you know, just because you unstole something doesn't mean you didn't steal it in the first place. So crazy story. But Calvin, thanks for sending that. It's a fascinating case. Derek Hutchinson wrote that for clickondetroit.com. Oakland County mailbox stolen by EMS workers, and they used a stretcher to get it into the ambulance, and then they called the post office to ask if they could keep it. Hey, it followed us home. Questions or comments, put them below those. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Everyone must believe in something. I believe I'll go canoeing.